Back to Harbaugh. Thank you and goodbye. Read yesterday's final edition of the Rupert Murdoch-owned tabloid News of the World. The paper was forced to shut down amid a widening scandal, including accusations of bribery and phone hacking. And it's getting worse. Here's the latest. The Mirror newspaper reports that News of the World tried to hack into the voicemails of 9/11 victims' families. Gordon Brown, the former prime minister, alleges that reporters tried to gain access into his family's bank and medical records. Also reports that a royal protection officer accepted bribes in exchange for phone numbers of the royal family itself. Murdoch this weekend arrived in London as his bid to buy satellite giant British Sky Broadcasting ran into resistance. Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg today called on the media mogul to, quote, do this decent, sensible thing and reconsider. What does all this mean for the Murdoch empire, which includes, of course, Fox News and its hold on British politics? Joining us now is NBC's Stephanie Gosk in London and ITN senior correspondent Robert Moore here with me. Stephanie, is this going to be the beginning of the crumbling of the Fox empire, the News Corporation empire, or will they hold up and keep all their people alive on this?
Well, Chris, it might be a little bit early to predict the demise of Rupert Murdoch's empire, but certainly this is chipping away at it. And what we've seen today is pretty astonishing. You have the deputy prime minister in this country coming out publicly and giving Rupert Murdoch business advice, telling him essentially, back away from this deal. You have so tarnished your image in this country in recent days that it just will not be accepted by the government or by anyone else in this country to move forward with this merger, an important merger for the corporation.
But is this Stalingrad? Is this that time when you try to reach your empire's zenith and you're beaten and you start to head backwards? I'm serious about this. This guy has had to close a major newspaper, which was his founding organ. It may be junk, but it was how he got started, News of the World, the trash they put out. And now he's forced to, perhaps under the pressure of the British government itself, which he usually had some hand in himself, will he have to break this deal? Will he have to give up?
Well, it looks like this deal, at the very least right now, is on hold, and it could be scuttled altogether. There are people here that are saying that this is just the beginning and the end of this merger. Now, is it the beginning of the end of News Corp? Well, like I said, it might be a bit early to predict that, but some people are questioning some of Murdoch's choices, specifically the fact that he continues to support Rebekah Brooks, one of his executives who is a former editor of News of the World. And there have been numerous cries for her to step down and to resign. He supports her, even as News of the World closes and all of its employees are fired. Chris?
Wow, let me get back to you. Robert, thank you for joining us. Robert Moore of ITN. What do you make of this this kind of stuff? Actually, we haven't gotten to this level here in this country. Hacking into the telephone, perhaps, of Gordon Brown, his bank records, into the family members of 9/11 victims, getting to the royal family's phone number. How do they do this stuff?
Well, it's stunning, isn't it? And, you know, what is most
technically stunning.
Absolutely stunning. And what's, most alarming for the Murdoch empire is every day it seems to get worse. These latest revelations about people intercepting the voicemails of Gordon Brown, maybe accessing the medical records of his sick, very sick son.
Do they feed this stuff to Fox over here? Do they peddle it over here?
I won't go there, Chris, but obviously, this is sensational stuff. And my network tonight did some polling, which was fascinating. It said 80% of Britons no longer trust the media. But more alarming than that, they don't trust the politicians. And more alarming than that, they do not trust the police to investigate. That really represents something of a crisis for kind of British institutions.
Let me go back to Stephanie. Rupert Murdoch had a lot of influence in the Reagan administration. He managed to get his U.S. citizenship during that era. He does know how to peddle influence. He knows how to get inside. Is that the story, that this is an overlay where it's not just yellow journalism, it's the power of journalists to have influence within governments?
Well, absolutely. That is at the heart of this story. In fact, you had Prime Minister Cameron talking about this cozy relationship between the tabloids and the politicians last Friday. And there is a sense that the door has been opened a little bit here, and people now, politicians specifically, can come out publicly and criticize the tabloids. There was fear in the past, this is part of the equation, that they were then going to, if they came out publicly against a tabloid, that then they would have to face nasty headlines and perhaps investigations into their personal lives. tabloids. They also specifically curried favor with the tabloids because getting support from a tabloid could mean success in a campaign. And right now you see an effort in recent days to really go at the heart of that power and influence and try to dismantle it. Chris?
Yeah, isn't it true that the News of the World, if they didn't like your politics, they put a naked picture of you, of the wife or somebody, topless picture of somebody to humiliate them?
Well, look, there were a lot of dirty tricks on that.
They had a great ability to put someone's head on somebody else.
Oh, they put somebody else's head on somebody's topless, picture.
Yeah, look, a lot of dirty tricks were played. I think the big question tonight really is, can it be contained to the News of the World? There are signs that tomorrow we're going to hear that it's spread to The Sun and potentially to the more reputable Sunday Times. If so, then that is clearly a much bigger deal for the Murdoch empire in Britain.
Well, he's been taking news organizations down and to the right ever since he's gotten a hold of his first one. That seems to be his reputation, right?
Well,
has he ever improved an organization?
Well, let's say the Sunday Times did some great journalism, but now it too is imperiled by these accusations.
Thank you very much, Stephanie Goskin. Thank you, Robert Moore, for joining us on this story from across the pond.